Open a browser and go to ACAI.so. And so, yeah,
Oh, not
ACAI,
acai.so,
Uh,
acai.so.
ACAI. So yeah, it's kind of just the acronym,
Ooh.
Artificial Citizens AI. Really, it
it's
came
a
down
really
to
nice
domain
short
name.
domain.
Exactly. So ACAI is something I thought about a while ago, just kind of trying to think of, domain names. You kind of got the Barry reference, as you see in the tagline there. It's powered by Ava, right? And so that's the idea. It's a platform. The platform, as we see it live, as you'll see it pulled down if you mess with it without any kind of custom backing, is powered by Ava, which is my agentic system. Now, ACAI could be powered by Joe's agentic system, could be powered by whoever pulls it in, but ultimately, like, I'm building a platform with my own system that can be expanded on. So this is just like a quick landing page that I wanted to throw together, so you can
This
actually just
landing
click
page
on.
is beautiful, by the way. I love
Yeah.
the
Thank
beautiful
you.
simplicity. I want to buy the product. I don't even know what it does yet. It's just it's perfect.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I put that together on Sunday. That was a lot of ChatGPT. I was just like, hey, let's do a landing page. And then we put together some of the functionality with the text, things like that. So,
Good stuff.
okay, cool. So you hop in. Obviously, we got a little disclaimer here. This is early public preview. Stuff will break, I promise. So yeah, you've got this is a full-on text editor on the left. This is using TipTap, and I've actually leveraged it's called novel.sh. They basically just took TipTap, put a bunch of nice styles in it, and then gave it some really basic AI autocomplete functionality. So pull this in as a starter point. The editor is going to be changing a lot. This is just kind of a placeholder. All right, let me figure out which screen I want to look
This
at.
feels
Here.
like
All right.
Notion.
Yeah, so exactly. So you're going to have Notion-like editing
Wow.
over here. We also have the concept of workspaces. So you can actually create new tabs, new workspaces. Oh, that's kind of a giveaway. I don't want to show you that one yet. So to get started, be sure to go ahead and, if you want to join along, go ahead and throw in your OpenAI key at bare minimum. The
Okay.
Google API and CSE key is creating a custom search engine. I did throw a little link here that I stole from Typing Mind to set up the Google search stuff. But with the OpenAI key, you'll be able to get some of just the basic chat functionality going. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. We'll get back to some of those other settings. This UI is going to change quite a bit. I kind of shut everything in the sidebar, but I'm going to do some tabs and get it a little cleaner here shortly. So we have this user tab. You can fill this in if you want. Currently, it's not persistent. I just added it last night, and there's some issue with the saving. So, but this will give Ava some, background information on you if you want. You can go ahead and close that.
Custom agent server? Sorry, I'm looking ahead.
No, you're
man.
fine. You're fine. Oh, and actually, yeah, that might be. So, actually, back in settings, once you have your OpenAI key, you'll see that you have access to this pulls in all your OpenAI models. So everybody should have GPT-4, 16. The only one I'm still missing is 32K. So OpenAI, if you're listening, I've been waiting for months for 32K context. Under the chat model, this is a custom prompt. So while you're in chat mode, this will completely overwrite any of the prompting I've put in there for the chat. We'll get back into the Ava stuff shortly.
Custom instructions, nice.
Yeah, so oh, and there's one bug with the if you paste in, you'll see
non-breakable
like
space.
tags, yeah, stuff like that. Oh, cool. So I did in that preview. I'm sorry, in the custom prompt, I let Ava know that we are about to join a podcast with Joe and Michael called Pattern Practice. It's a pleasure being on Pattern Practice. Looking forward to our conversation today. So
That's funny. I'm over here asking her. I'm telling her that I'm talking to Josh, and I told him that you're her creator. I don't know if she knows that though.
I love it.
She asked how I know you, so we're chatting.
I'm telling her to give me your API key.
So that's just some basic chat functionality. Again, it's really pretty much just your traditional chat GPT interface. I do pass in like the date and time. So So I meant to send it to y'all the other day, but sometimes. Oh,
Okay.
interesting. Okay, so it got a little weird there. I think it could be part of the models. I've noticed that GPT-3 gets a little weird on some of this stuff. But the other night, it was pretty late, as it typically is when I'm working on this stuff. She was like, "What are you doing at this late hour?" or something like that. Like, totally called me out, and I was like, All
Josh,
right,
it's so late.
so
You should go to bed.
all right, so I could show you one other piece of next piece of functionality here, Ava. So we've got some actual voice functionality in place here, and she's listening right now. Ava, could you tell us a little bit more about the project? And so this will take a second. As far as the generation of the text, the creation
Of
of the
course, I'd be happy to share more about the project. It's an innovative initiative that aims to explore the potential of AI in enhancing everyday human experience.
so that I don't care for that voice synthesis so much. But we do also have 11 Labs. So 11 Labs is a voice synthesis pipeline. You're able to go in and train voices on it. And it's really, really well done. So I've actually got some
Morgan
I've got some
Freeman,
celebrities.
huh?
Yes, not Morgan Freeman. And so, down here below, so this top window here is our user transcript. So obviously, we can kind of see what we've been talking about here. It's just listening, and it clears depending on the modes and things like that. Below that is a manual text to speech, so you can actually interact with any of your text to speech APIs that we have access to here, and then just get a test. So, hello, gentlemen.
Man, that built-in speech recognition is going to be such a time saver. That was such a pain to mostly get right. I didn't even get it finally right, but it sounds like you nailed it on yours. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's one of the big things. I spent a lot of time on this voice synthesis pipeline. One of the big things too is, like basically as it's loading and talking, I spent a lot of time making sure that Ava can't hear herself. Right. That spent a lot of time basically like because you get these infinite loops where they just kind of talk to itself. Right. So
Hello, gentlemen. Thanks for having us.
So that's from 11 Labs. Ava's got a voice on here too. I've actually got the CEO of Snapstack trained on here as well. Let's see. Ava? Hi, Ava. What time is it? Now, hopefully this one isn't super long.
There's a little audio thing in the bottom left. That's cool.
Uh-huh.
Little.
Yeah.
So that was made
the first time. That got me excited. First time.
I'm sorry, I don't have real-time capabilities to provide the current time. However, you mentioned it was 2:30 p.m. when we started this conversation.
That is so much better than the web speech.
Yeah.
That's, the web speech is
my
awful.
God.
That's why immediately it happened, and I was like, oh, crap. She will hear. So, so yeah, this is some of the voice synthesis functionality. Obviously, you can do very basic, like, talk back and forth. So real quick here. So while I actually had the Ava like voice activation going while we were just talking, so she picked it up, was trying to process what we were talking about, and apparently she thought we said something about West Beach because we've triggered the human in the loop prompt or tool. So basically, if Ava doesn't have enough information and there's something that the user will only be able to provide, she'll present this prompt that you can actually fill out, and it basically gives feedback. So I can just say cancel. She might get really confused. But so obviously, like being able to chat with the AI is fun. All right, cool. Got some error there. That's fine. But so there's more that I really wanted to bring in for the voice synthesis, right? One of the big things I was trying to kind of replicate was Vowel, which I think we've done 1 or 2 episodes via Vowel. Vowel is a video service that has transcription built in, does observations from the transcription. So we'll try to create like action items, things like that. So let's see, cancel.
Nice.
All right, we got it. We got a little bit of I think we got the generation text. So, anyways, voice synthesis is very much a work in progress. But I can show you. Let me show you the notes functionality. I did bring that up on the last episode, but I can just show it you real quick. And this also demonstrates kind of the ability to create new tabs. Take notes. So right now it's listening, right, and it won't cancel until I basically give it a command. So it's listening for any action items in the conversation. So, I need to go in and adjust the state. So when the error happens, it, cancels the state. That's probably a good action item. And then, so kind of showing you the note documentation, and then I can show you some of our kind of custom agent functionality, which is where I'm getting really excited to share with the kind of developer community at large. Ready?
Yeah.
Sorry, that's
my voice
command there for it. Yeah, again, I need to set it up.
I'm also ready.
Here we go. So we've got some notes taken. As you see, it created a new tab, kind of give us our check the audio context to resolve any issues. Boom. So we got a few there. Basically I want to introduce several, different modes, right? So one of the things I really want this app to help me with is, studying, right? Maybe I'm watching a video or something like that, and I wanted to be passively listening to the video to help, create follow-up questions or, maybe pieces I missed, summarize key takeaways, things like that as I'm working on it. And then possibly be able to also access knowledge that I already have here and try to, take the two and provide an outcome, right? Maybe there's some conflicting information and it has to decide what to keep forward, things like that. So that's definitely what I want to do with the voice synthesis. And then also it's just a space to mess around with different kinds of audio modalities. I don't have it fully piped together right now. I don't want to mess with it while we're live, but I've got Bark set up and I've got a microservice for Bark. Bark is a really, really amazing text-to-speech model that can do like all sorts of different sounds. And so I've got that running locally, and basically I'll have a microservice that people can just run locally. And then if they have that running, they can access that Bark tool as well. Same with Meta has the audio, like music generation, I've got running locally. So we'll just kind of play with different AI tools within the application. Eventually we'll have like image generation, things like that in here as well. But the most exciting part about all of this is that all that data is all accessible by Ava or whatever agentic system somebody decides to bring to the platform. And so we are able to, we have as Joe saw, we have the custom mode. And then there actually is this custom agent server. And you'll see we've got localhost. I've even got an example of how to do some rudimentary password protection. And then we'll go ahead and connect here. All right, so we're connected to our custom agent, which right now is just a demo. And then so I can show you here. Let's go. One little tidbit of information. So this chat window is persistent. This will keep, through refreshes. And this is actually what generates the kind of chat history for the agent. So this is how you keep kind of that chain of thought. So you can actually use, I've got it wired into this attach button. This is actually a clear button because that's what they had there, and I haven't had time to update it.
Was wondering how to.
Nice. So that'll be updated to give us more of a menu up here.
You click that when you're not attached to the. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. And then so soon there'll be a method of like persisting chat, like saving it, like indexing it, right? So it's not in the immediate chat history, but it becomes part of your knowledge base. I don't have the drop down here right now because it's not finished, but there will be a whole concept of knowledge within the app. And basically you'll be able to upload files, folders, things like this, and it'll be all become part of the agent's understanding and lookup. So, all right, so we've got the custom agent set, and then just to do a quick test, I'll just say hello, and this will just give us our hello from the server side message, and this shows you this is actually coming from the server. We've got all the information here. So this is just a message, user message, username, which we didn't, like I said, it's not persistent, so that erased. So we are just user with undisclosed location. The custom prompt that I told it, chat history. Obviously, I just erased it, so that's empty. And then boom, you've got your current document here. And so this is all being piped into an endpoint. And so the user, the developer who has their agentic system on the server side, all they have to do is figure out what they want to do with that data, right? So if they just want it to be a basic chat model, cool. They just pull in the user message, chat history if they want. And then, they're responsible for maintaining that data, whatever they want to do with it. I just funnel it all together, drop it off, and say, here you go. But the power in it comes from the fact that I have a socket server set up. And so when I message the server here, this is a socket event from the server side. So I could actually I could manage this via an API endpoint, a webhook, whatever I wanted, and put in my, have it create a tab. So now imagine this kind of extrapolated. So you have all this information, but then you could also pass in all the indexed knowledge, like say it hits like a vector store, right? And you could pull in all the relevant results, pass that to the end. But the important thing is that it's the developer that has, they're basically in charge of their data. All the stuff that we see, everything that you've been messing with today is all local, right? Aside from the OpenAI calls and the 11 Labs call, right? Like everything else is local storage. There's nothing getting thrown anywhere. So once Joe puts in his agentic system and that's local, then you literally have this whole local system, right? And that was really important to me because I see that a lot of people, that's one of the first things they ask for, right? They're wanting to basically be in control of their data. So now, obviously that's just one endpoint, but, I'm looking to bring in say for instance, Spotify. I can bring in a Spotify plugin to have my current music, right? I could potentially have commands to create playlists, whatever, right? Weather report. I could have Google, my Google Calendar coming in, right? And again, this is all data that I just am going to funnel into one output, drop it off. It's available to the developers that they're working with. And as we're adding interfaces, new functionality with socket endpoints, all they have to do is create a callback wherever they want it to send in that data, right? Which is really, really powerful. So essentially, I'm giving a platform that is not just a chat interface, but it's a full toolkit. This is an AI-powered toolkit is basically what I'm calling it, right? And it gives users the ability to do more with the project, the app themselves, right? If they're not a developer, they're not technically inclined per se, they just want to get in and get a productivity tool, do writing, whatever, but just the fact that people can now take it and expand on it to do what they want with it, I think is really powerful. And I hope will incentivize people to contribute to the project, right?
So you've solved the user experience side of agentic systems.
I wouldn't say I've come. I'm working on solving it.
You're contributing to. I'm just oh my goodness, I don't have to resolve voice synthesis. I get all these integrations for free. I don't have to resolve logging or exposing. I get all that for free. And if you have a WebSocket callback, I don't have to try to shove everything back to the reply it gives me. I don't have to parse the one attempt at synthesis it gives me. I can do the socket callbacks. That's huge. I'm seeing it. I love it.
Awesome. Yeah.
And it's web-based. Thank goodness. Now I can see it on all of my devices because I don't have to have it running on a local application.
And it's not here yet, but PWA definitely is on the way. That is progressive web application, Michael. So basically, you'll be able to download it, use it offline. So obviously, some of this requires online functionality. But if Joe's system set up, everything will literally just be local, downloaded. Phone app, obviously, I can really easily make this a phone app. Just have to get some mobile, responsiveness and considerations in there. But I want this to be the app that you use everywhere. And like I said, I'm trying to solve those problems. I hesitate to say I solved them because I'm still thinking through a lot of this and trying to figure out some of these pieces.
That was a humble trap, and you passed. Good job.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm trying.
Good one.
So, but yeah, I mean, to that point, that's where I kind of want to be. Maybe not necessarily in this space, but that's where I wanted to be with this app. I want to be that interface. I want you to reach for this and not Gradio next time you have to make,
I'm
a
going
front
to
end.
integrate this over the weekend. Are you serious?
And
My
so
goodness.
I've got an example Express server, and then I've pretty much got my, I think I had ran into some, I think, cores issue or whatever, but yeah, I've got a Python example with, and it's gonna be documented, right? So it's like, here are the outputs you have to hit. So yeah, that's where I'm really seeing the power of this.
Man.
It's like, yeah, cool. It could be another productivity tool. It could be whatever, but it can be that and more, right? So while I'm still building out Ava and the front end stuff here, other people could be again leveraging it, but with their backend. So
Are
that's
you
what I was
gonna
thinking. And that
get a logo made
just
with
basically,
a acai berry?
uh,
Seems pretty
I
ripe.
was going to wait till
why
the
is
end
it
to tell you
not?
this was very, very cool, Josh.
Oh, bro, I'm already actually
it's an AI
spoiler
super
alert.
tool. I was using super tool. It's like super. Oh, go ahead, please.
Well, this favicon here looks suspiciously like an acai berry. Just noticed it.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
if you notice the homepage, the color there, that's the acai like color.
Yeah,
web
that
color.
purplish. Yeah,
I love
you know,
it.
you don't have to lean all the way into it, but I love just a
Just-
little lean into it
just
is
a
real,
little-
real
just a
cute.
little-
I think
hint.
it'll help. I
Give
think
it a little
it's a good,
hint of the
a good
acai
vibe.
berry.
I'm into it.
Right. Well, the tagline is it's an AI powered super tool, right? So,
Fantastic.
I figured I wanted it to be easy to remember. I obviously own like Artificial Citizens in several different formats, but it's just a longer name, right? I like the way it looks. It's short, easy to remember. So we can mess around with so the different modes. We got chat, which is obviously just chat. Ava right now, definitely a work in progress. But Ava is the kind of the agentic like overarching kind of AI. And so the idea is that Ava will try to best route your query to kind of a mixture of experts, right? So there'll be different prompts and kind of tool chains depending on what you need. Let's see here. What is really cool, so I do actually already have set up. So again, this is really pretty rudimentary, this editor. You do have some, if you hit ++, you have yourself a nice little autocomplete functionality. It's not like super, it's not anything crazy. It's not like crazy high tech yet. I'm definitely gonna do a lot more with that. But then I also, one thing I'm really determined to do sooner than later is basically like Notion have an AI kind of feature in the bubble menu, right? So you can do some more things like, translate this line or send it to the chat or whatever. But Ava does already have access to this document. So I can say summarize this document. So this might take a second. I don't have streaming yet in the chat. That's one of my next ups as well on my ever-growing list of things to do. But yeah, so the idea is that the document is kind of available to Ava, and then she can also create documents as we've seen in the past. So yeah, there we go. This document is an introduction to ACAI.so. Now power, boom, boom, boom. So again, you saw in the output to the custom agent, you will have access to that document on your server, right? So that just comes in. You do whatever the hell you want with it, right? Want this to be a content creation system, right? I want to do all my writing in here. I want to be able to like turn this on while I'm in a meeting and have it pick up all the conversation and like create notes and create follow up and remind me that I need to do X, Y, and Z, right? And then I'm taking notes in here, and that all becomes part of the context for that workspace. That was another thing I didn't really call out too much, but so we have the concept of workspaces. The nice thing about workspaces is the Ava is specific to the workspace. So the chat history, things like that, are all specific to workspace. So you might have a patterns practice workspace, right? That has all the information around pattern practice, has conversations about pattern practice, things, guest ideas and things like that. That chat history and everything is specific to that workspace. So you go in and all your knowledge and stuff is around that. You go to your other workspace, maybe it's your personal workspace, and that personal workspace has all your personal information, all your contacts, whatever you want, right? And so you're talking to Ava there, and Ava's in that mode of like, oh, I'm you're a personal assistant, you're helping me out, check my emails, message my fiance, things like that, right? And so, but that workspace is not going to be mixing with my daily knapsack workspace, right? I don't have it quite this granular yet, but you'll be able to have like your AI. Maybe you have API keys for work, right? You're leveraging there. Boom, you have that in that space.
Oh, dude,
that kind of
Dexy
thing.
databases give you that for free, right? Now I'm just thinking immediately, like all you got to do is call a different Dexy database, and boom, you got namespacing. Man.
Oh yeah, totally. And that's all I'm doing here. Under the hood, it's not that one is an actual object. Like I have it's set up with like keys, right? They're all objects and things like that at this point. So I've got that separation for sure. But so it would be easy enough to pull over to Dexy. Definitely.
So I am desperate to understand how the webhook or the socket callback works. I don't know if that specific thing is something you're interested in doing first or later as part of some broader presentation, but I'm very interested in understanding what it looks like for an agent to generate a document before replying to you.
Oh yeah. Well, here you go. So here's the V1, and so currently, like I said, I'm just kind of sending it back, right?
IO
pull it
emit.
in.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's all you gotta do. IO emit, and then basically it'll just have to map. This has to map the name, and I think the data shape has to match the client, I guess in this case, right? It'd be on the client. And if that is, then it just fires whatever callback you put in that, on the client side.
Okay.
Same with like you've got, sockets. You've got like on connect, things like this, right? And so basically, as I create more functionality and tools on this client side, I can just add a new event, throw that in the API documentation, and now boom, like you have this callback. Why do I have a thumbs up on my head? That was really weird. I think it's a Riverside thing. There was like a weird did you guys see that? There was like an emote that came up. Anyways, sorry.
No, I was too focused on the code.
Sorry. But yeah, as I create more tools, like, say there's a create Spotify playlist to kind of, go back to something I was talking about earlier. Like you could have basically another socket IO emit that's like Spotify playlist, right? And then add the payload, whatever it needs to get sent over to the other side, right? And then so within your code and your tools, right, you just call those events wherever you need them, right? Maybe you don't want to fire all those events till the very end. Just fire all 10 events, in sequence or something like that. But the point is, it's like up to you, right? It's like, boom, here you go. I funnel all the data in. There you go. You want to save it to a external database? By all means, right? Like you can do whatever you want at that point. And basically trying to make it so the developer doesn't have to go in and mess with the UI, right? Like as minimal as possible. Like obviously, if they have like use cases or whatever, I'd love to see a contribution, and sent back. But yeah, the hope is that you just do the back end work, because that's basically where I want to get to, where I can just have a server where I'm just playing around my server. The front end stays where it's at, has access to it. I don't have to mess with it. I'm just doing server side code, right? So
that makes sense.
That is the idea there. Well, I do have it up. Let me show you this. Actually, one of the only. Oh, I think I shut it off. But so there's kind of the drag and drop functionality that is kind of in flight right now. I don't fully have it hooked up. But yeah, I've drug in all of our. My CEO does the Design Systems podcast, and I pulled in all the transcripts and basically set it up a pipeline where I basically just drag the folder in. It converts all of those into JSON and YAML files with like the names and stuff like that, right? So this is really, again, I wanted this to be a workspace. Like I'm trying to pull together all the tools I use on a daily basis, weekly basis, whatever, into one interface, right? I want to be able to drag images in there and create GIFs or whatever, right? I want to be able to like normalize audio. I want this to be like a toolkit, and all these things will be modular so that you can go in as a user and, maybe you don't need the FFmpeg extension, but I do, so I can just go in and click, select it, and then it's available in my UI, right? And then I'm able to do all these things that I do everywhere else, but now I can also have all that data streamed into my agent, and my agent has knowledge of all that stuff as well, right?
Oh my goodness, the possibilities are as broad as the web itself.
Yes, pretty much. I'm just gonna bring Michael back in. So like, yeah, I really want to do things like be able to like drag your images in here. Obviously, Photoshop's got a lot of that stuff happening, but like be able to drag it in and create tags and stuff like that, right? Like, I want computer vision to be in here.
Still sucks.
I want to be able to add an image here, whatever image, and have that generated. And then type in your prompt, and boom, you got your AI generated image or whatever, right? Like, I want this to be a workspace to create to essentially just expand us as humans, right? Like that's kind of the point of all this.
Can you say concisely, Joe, just after having gone through the last hour, what it is that makes you so excited about this? Like what it does for you? You were like, me selfishly, individually, this does a lot. What does it do for you?
Sure. So my current implementation of an agent that can use tools like if I ask it a question, it can go, try a couple times at Googling it and then, give it back to me. That's all with the command line, and I have to do it like at my computer where I'm developing this thing. And so I, some people don't feel this way. I love web apps because you can access web apps from anywhere on the network or anywhere on the internet if you host the damn thing. And so that alone is something I'm interested in. But specifically for me, for my use case, I now only have one more layer I have to build to getting a user interface together. I only have to now build something that consumes my agent and has its outputs either throw a WebSocket emission back to the front end or whatever else I want it to engage in to be able to consume it with a clean user interface. Because otherwise, I'm stuck at the command line. This takes me from command line to browser in half a step compared to where I am now. And if I had thought of it originally, I probably could have just extended the Express example he gave me, plugged my agent in at a new endpoint, and called it a day. That's probably what I'm going to do, is take your Python example for your... do you have a custom agent Python example, Josh?
I saw I'll mess around with it more this evening, but yeah, it's basically I think a fast API server with Express, right? So it's pretty much there. I had some issue, but I've done it before with another Python script.
But so especially if he comes out and he's like, oh look, here's how a canonical LangChain agent would work with OpenAI. I'm gonna go, holy crap, copy the code, change a couple things, plug it into my weird thing that I'm doing that I probably have some more work to do on. And I'm up, and I can use it on my phone because I actually find now that I'm like frustrated when I don't have access to my agent.
That was a great answer. I think that was awesome.
And we'll see how the actual user experience goes, but like I'm also specifically excited because my stack at work where I'm building something less cool than this is differently cool is React and Tailwind. So it's like I might actually be able to contribute some cool stuff to this.
Exactly. And this is exactly what the kind of, reaction I'm hoping for. So I reached out to on Twitter, I don't know how actually pronounce it. Hi. He was the creator of Baby AGI, which was like the first agentic system really to kind of get some traction. And he's steadily building, his system, but he's got some, standard chat interface, whatever. And I replied to one of the threads. I was like, boom, I just gave a screenshot a couple weeks ago and was like, hey, I'm building out this system for my agent that's going to be completely plug and play, background. I was like, I think Baby AGI might be happy here, and he was like, oh yeah, super clean, blah, blah, blah. But just getting getting people like that involved in this project is just going to hopefully, take it wherever. Because a lot of these systems that people are building, are just a chat interface, right? Like, they don't have access to all these other tools. And in order to pull all these pieces together to architect the way, I mean, this is months of my life. Nights, like I haven't had a night or weekend that hasn't been this, in months. And that in itself saves Joe and whoever else that time, right?
Oh my God.
This is a lot. I've rebuilt this thing several times in different capacities, right? Just re-architect, rethinking how I want things to, and it's still not perfect. That's why I'm probably gonna wait till like this weekend to get the code out, just because there's a couple of little things I want to clean up. But like, yeah, there's a lot of time and effort spent into getting this to where it is. And I still have obviously a lot of ideas that I want to implement. So Joe now just has to focus on the agent, right? And at the bare minimum, like I said, if you just want to plug this in, have a chat interface, everything happens on the backside. You don't see any of the tools. You don't get any of the cool, like, the toast notifications, can't create tabs or whatever. You can do that, right? And then expand as you go. But, as Joe was saying, like, he's working in CLI. Like, a lot of my stuff I've either done in CLI or had Discord was what I was using, right? Looking for, or ScriptKit, right? Looking for these interfaces. But now we all have this, I'm going to say it, really nice looking interface that, we can use. And,
You've earned it.
And
Yeah.
Thank you.
It is a nice interface.
And so,
It's a very nice
just
interface.
something very nice to look at, and so just trying to, I don't know, I realized that this would be a really good way for me to be able to contribute to the space and community, right? This is where my expertise lies. Like, I've kind of shifted that towards AI a lot over the last 6 months, but this is still like UX design. Like, this is still my first, area of expertise. And so I wanted to try to, bring that to AI.
That's perfect, dude. Huge fan of web apps too, by the way. I'm with you, Joe. Yeah.
Josh, thank you so much for presenting this to us and for doing the work as well. Like, I'm personally going to benefit from this, so thank you personally. For me, thank you. And Mike is also probably appreciative as well.
Thank you for me too, Josh. I had a blast, and I can't wait until the next time.
Awesome. Sweet. Hey, thanks, y'all. Talk to you soon.
All right, later, guys.